The road to Whispering Oaks wound through the Louisiana swamps, like a scar on the land. Mist rolled low and heavy, wrapping the ancient trees in silence, as Marisol Tate drove deeper into the suffocating fog. The house, an inheritance from an aunt she barely knew, was a massive plantation rumored to be cursed. The letter had called it a gift, but it felt much more like a warning. When the mansion finally came into view, Marisol's breath caught in her throat. The white columns leaned as if tired of standing. The shutters hung crooked, and moss dripped from the oaks like rotting lace. The place looked as if time itself had abandoned it. Yet as she stepped from the car, she felt a strange prickle on her skin. She was being watched. The front door groaned open on its own, sighing as if relieved to breathe again after decades of holding its breath. Inside, the air was damp, perfumed with the sweet, sickening smell of decay. Dust motes danced in the golden light of dusk, and every one of her footsteps seemed to echo just a little too long. That night, the first whispers began. They came between the creaks and sighs of the old house. A child's sudden laughter, a woman humming softly, a faint whisper calling her name. Marisol. Sleep came in broken, restless pieces. Each time she drifted off, she dreamed of eyes watching her from just behind the walls. By the third day, her curiosity finally overtook her fear. She climbed the narrow stairs to the attic. The air up there was thick and dry, heavy with the dust of forgotten years. Beneath a stained white sheet, she found a portrait. It was a woman, pale and strikingly beautiful, but her eyes were hollow and black, like empty wells. The brass plaque at the bottom read, "Catherine Tate, her late aunt." As Marisol tilted the painting toward a sliver of light, the painted eyes almost seemed to move. Beneath the portrait sat a heavy mahogany box, locked tight. She jiggled the lock, tried to pry it open, but it wouldn't budge. That night, she dreamed of the same box, and of hands, pale and thin, reaching out for her from within. Days slipped by in an uneasy, oppressive silence. The house shifted and moaned around her, as if remembering a deep, ancient pain. Doors opened on their own. Cold drafts brushed past her skin like an unseen touch. Then, one morning, she found them. Muddy footprints leading from the cellar door all the way to her bedroom. They were small, child-sized bare feet. That was when she began to research the estate's dark past. Old county records painted a grim history. Her great-grandfather had owned Whispering Oaks back in the 1890s. Servants had vanished without a trace. A housekeeper, a woman named Celeste Beaufort, was accused of stealing jewelry. She was never seen again. Locals claimed she cursed the house before disappearing into the swamp. Weeks later, 3 of the family's children were found dead in the attic, their bodies cold, peaceful, and untouched. The attic, the same one where Marisol had found the portrait. That night, a violent thunderstorm rolled over the swamp. Rain pounded the windows, and lightning flashed like a strobe through the cracks in the walls. As she passed a long hallway mirror, Marisol saw something that froze her blood. Her reflection was not her own. It was an older woman, her face pale, her eyes burning with a dark, simmering hatred. The reflection smiled, and then it was gone. She lit candles to drive away the encroaching darkness, but the air grew heavy with the scent of old perfume. The same scent she had noticed the day she arrived. She followed it upstairs and saw the attic door was standing wide open. Inside, the mahogany box now sat unlocked on the dusty floor. Her hands trembled as she opened it. Inside lay a leather journal, its pages brittle with age. The first line read, "Celeste Beaufort, housekeeper of Whispering Oaks." Celeste wrote of caring for the children, of her love for them, and of the terrible night she was accused. "They took the children." One entry read, the ink smeared as if by tears. "They will not stop crying. I hear them still. If I cannot save them, may my spirit never rest until the guilty pay." The very last page was written in a different hand. Her aunt's. "The curse remains. The dead is ours." Thunder cracked again, and the entire house trembled. The lights flickered and died. And then Marisol heard it, faint and playful, children laughing somewhere below. She followed the sound through the darkened halls, her candle flame trembling in her hand. The laughter slowly turned to crying as she reached the parlor. The door was half open, a soft, unnatural glow spilling through the crack. Inside, the fireplace burned with an ethereal light, but there was no wood in it, and standing before the ghostly flames were 3 small children, their faces pale, their eyes hollow. Behind them loomed a 4th figure, a tall woman in a torn dress, her hair long and black as ink. "Celeste," Marisol whispered, her voice barely audible. The ghost's eyes fixed on her. A voice spoke, not from the woman's lips, but inside Marisol's mind. "Why have you come here?" I inherited the house." Celeste's face darkened with a century of rage. "Blood remembers. The sins of your family rot in these walls." "I didn't know," Marisol pleaded. "I'm not one of them." The spirit moved closer, her presence freezing the very air. "Truth is what you owe me." Then the voice softened. "Would you give the house their names?" Marisol didn't understand at first, but then it struck her. Her aunt's journals, the old letters in the library, the names of every ancestor who had owned Whispering Oaks. She could give the curse a target. She could finally set it free. "I will," she said, her voice finding a new strength. "I'll give you all of their names." Celeste smiled faintly, a sad, ghostly expression. "Then listen." The room filled with visions, flickering images of the past. Celeste, accused by the master of the house, her screams echoing through the halls. The children, locked in the attic, crying for her. Then, flames consuming the upper floor. And finally, silence, smoke, darkness. When the vision faded, Marisol found herself kneeling on the floor, her candle extinguished. The house was utterly still. She went to the library, pulled down the heavy ledgers and dusty deeds, and began to read every single name, whispering them aloud into the darkness. With each name, the walls groaned louder, as if the house itself was remembering its pain. She found the velvet pouch of jewels, hidden for over a century, in a safe behind the fireplace, and carried it to the attic. She placed it before Celeste's portrait. "Here," she said, "your truth." The ground trembled. The chandelier above shattered, glass raining down like ice. From the shadows, Celeste appeared again, surrounded by the 3 ghostly children. Below, the front door burst open. Through it stepped translucent figures, her ancestors, drawn from their graves, their faces twisted in fear. They stumbled toward the parlor, toward Celeste and her children. The ghosts of the guilty trembled as Celeste raised a spectral hand. "For every lie, for every stolen life, let your souls rot where mine has waited." The walls pulsed with a raw electric energy. The children's laughter turned shrill, echoing through every room as the ancestors screamed, clawing at the floor. Then, one by one, The walls swallowed them whole. The sound died away into a profound silence. The storm outside stopped. Celeste turned to Marisol, her expression finally calm. "You freed them. The house is clean." Marisol's voice shook. "And you?" The ghost smiled faintly. "Vengeance ends where truth begins." And as dawn broke, Celeste and the children dissolved into a warm, gentle light, leaving only a lingering peace where they had stood. When morning came, Whispering Oaks was quiet for the first time in a century. Sunlight streamed through the broken windows, turning the dust into gold. The air no longer smelled of rot or perfume. Marisol walked through the empty halls. The portraits were gone. The walls were still. In the attic, Catherine Tate's painting lay face down on the floor, its eyes finally at rest. She left without looking back, but as she drove away, the mist rolled in again, thin and ghostly, and in the distance, the house exhaled a long, slow sigh, a sigh of relief, because sometimes a house doesn't just haunt its owners. Sometimes it waits for one of them to finally make things right.